Let's move to Major League Baseball, taking a look at the Astros and the Blue Jays. I have not been following these two teams. I've been following a couple of others, so I don't know much about where these teams are at right now. Tell us a little bit about these two teams and what you think of this matchup today. Everyone likes Toronto, minus 150. You get Houston at plus 130 with an over-under 8.5. Such a vanilla 8.5. What's up with take a stand, books? Every game is just like 8.5.
Well, we're going to talk about that 8.5 here just in a second, Andy, but it is a battle of division leaders north of the border. These teams have not met since April. If you go all the way back to April, Astros swept the Blue Jays in a 3-game series down in Houston. All 3 of those games stayed under the total. In fact, only 17 total runs were scored in that entire 3-game series. But what you need to understand here, guys, we're going to be looking at a much different matchup now. Obviously, the Blue Jays, their offense is a lot better now than it was in April. More on that in just a minute. But let's talk about the series taking place in Toronto. Overs are 80, 57, and 6 in Jays home games this season. It's number 1 in all of Major League Baseball. Includes 8-1 to the over the last 9 Blue Jays home games. And a lot of that, yes, is about these Jays bats. They average 5.32 runs per game, pardon me, at home. They're also number 1 in batting average. Number 1 in on-base percentage, number 1 in slugging, number 1 in WRC plus since the All-Star break. The off day yesterday, hopefully, means Bo Bichette back in the lineup tonight. He missed Sunday's 4-3 loss to the Yankees. Bichette, he's gone over 1.5 total bases in 11 of his last 15 games played. So a lot of production there. You've also got Vlad Guerrero, comes in 5 straight multi-hit games. And Jays will be facing Luis Garcia. Second outing since coming back from a long stint on the IL. Garcia did allow 2 home runs in his first start back. Overall, it was a good start, but the 2 home runs, perhaps a bit of a red flag. You got Shane Bieber starting for Toronto. He was the big trade deadline acquisition, of course, for the Jays. His first 2 starts, Andy, went really well, but then he had the blow-up last time out. He had a lot of 5-run inning. We'll see if that's a sign of things to come. What we do know, though, Astros score more on the road than they do at home. Jake Myers has returned from injury. That's a good thing. Also, even if the Stros don't get to Bieber early, they've always got a shot here against what has been the Blue Jays' albatross, that being the bullpen. 4th highest ERA since the All-Star break, 5.38 for Jays relievers. That's not good. All of this lands me on over 8.5. Of course, 9, one of the key numbers when betting MLB totals. I'm 61% this season with MLB totals, by the way. Had the over last night in Twins Angels. That was a pretty easy game, even though there were a lot of late scratches. I had to go into my write-up, Andy, and everyone who had bought the play got a late update from me that said, well, guys, a lot of big names aren't playing tonight. Won't be in the lineup, but we're going to go with it anyway. I think these pitchers still stink. And guess what? The pitchers still stunk, and we cashed that one by the top of the 6th inning. So over 8.5 in Blue Jays Astros.
All right, it's $5 Tuesday. Brian, what do you have up for clients?
Well, wouldn't you know, Andy, I have a play up for $5. And it is a 4% best bet for NFL Week 2, guys. I mentioned it at the outset. Went 6-2 in football last week. I'll take that every week. I can go 6-2 every week, Andy. I'd be a very happy man. And 3-1 in college, 3-1 in NFL. As far as the NFL goes, our 4% best bet in week 1 office was the Packers over the Lions. And I think this best bet that I've got here locked and loaded for week 2 will be just as good, quite frankly. What we always try to do, we did this last year, if you're on board with me last year in football season, with $5 Tuesday, what I try to do is just get in on a line that I think is the best. It's not going to get better. The number's not going to get better throughout the week. I think that's the case with what I've got here. 23, 12, and 1 all sports run, Andy, for me over the last, 2+ weeks, and then up 45.1 units going back to late May. We hit 66% of our football plays last year in September, guys. So really no surprise that we went 6-2 last week. WT.buzz/BP.